Allie, just a fascinating story this morning. This Minnesotan to meet grew up in the middle of a Bosnian war.
Yeah, she did, and then she went on to graduate from the University of Minnesota and St. Ben's University. For Jasna Burza, it was a visit to Minnesota when she was just 19 that not only changed her, but changed her future. As one of the first students to go through the Peace Trails program at St. John's and St. Ben's, Jasna was able to pursue a degree in peace studies in the hopes of being a political leader in her native land. But it seems every time she tried to leave Minnesota, she always found her way back, and that's what makes her a Minnesotan to meet.
For Jasna Burza, the sounds of grenades and bombs were an everyday occurrence while growing up during the Bosnian War.
The bombing started, everyone had to flee town, so I ended up with some of the relatives and neighbors without my parents. For 3 months I was in a refugee camp in Croatia.
In the early 90s, she moved to a refugee camp for 3 months alone until she was reunited with her mother, returning home to an ongoing state of war 9 months later.
So we slept on the floor, on the mattresses on the floor, in case that, away from the windows. But she would stay out watching all night long on the balcony.
Her father moved to a concentration camp, and his absence took a toll.
He was taken in the actual battlefield, so they were used as human shields. And just the fact that he's alive, but it really took a toll on him.
Jasna was always an overachiever, joining every club in school, working after school to help her parents pay rent.
I grew up not having many opportunities. I was told, you're a woman, these are the things that you can do, and these are the things that you can't do. And it was instilled in me.
That all changed when she was invited to a youth camp by former Johnny interim president and mentor Dan Whalen.
Well, he created a program called Peace Trails. He really took a special interest in Bosnia, wanting to understand what happened. So he brought youth from 3 different faiths.
The youngest in a group, Jasna was invited back to attend St. Ben's as a full-time student.
6 months later, he called me and he said, I want you to have college education.
Her degree from St. Ben's and eventually a graduate degree from the Humphrey Institute of Public Policy led her to jobs with the UN and the International Committee of the Red Cross in Geneva, Switzerland.
I wanted to dedicate my life to working for these organizations that are really trying to change this on an international level.
But after traveling around the world for work, you could say she found Minnesota. Or maybe Minnesota found her.
People always leave Minnesota, but they always come back. like yourself.
Me. It was here she met her husband and decided to forego plane rides for something more.
7 years ago, I lost a child. And it just started to change everything. And I started to question, what do I want to do? But was I doing the right things in life?
After stepping away from her sales job, she was blessed with 2 children in a little over a year.
Finding our own calling, finding our own truth. And I think that when more of us do that, I think that we can do many more great things and prevent something like that from happening.
The mother of 2 spends time speaking to Fortune 500 companies like U.S. Bank and spends the rest of her time doing business consulting and coaching mainly to women who are hoping to start their own companies or re-enter the workforce.
I think there's so much greatness in all of us, but we get so bogged down by something painful that happens.
So Jasna recently became a U.S. citizen and a Minnesota resident. This was about 5 years ago, and she called it a very proud moment.
Good for her.
It was just, she was so emotional when talking about it, and it was very touching.
Amazing. Just what a journey and what an incredible story from this
So
woman.
much that she's overcome in her life.
And when she talks to women, she really discusses that portion of it, the overcoming with other women. She wants you to kind of take that moment and learn from it and use it in your everyday life. So we mentioned Dan Whalen in the piece. He was the interim president at St. John's University. I talked to him yesterday, and he called her smart, savvy, and bold and extraordinary woman, and he really said in talking about the Peace Trails program that she was selected for, that was on purpose. He knew she was a special woman, and he knew she would make an impact on campus.
Very cool. Allie, thank you.